Cubs start the night in fourth, 2.5 out in the Central, and the Padres are tied for third, 8.5 back in the West. 1 ball, no strikes on Brian Giles as Rich Harden faces the Padres for the first time in his career. 1-1.
When you mentioned it, Len, when you gave the Padres lineup, really Adrian Gonzalez is the one guy that jumps out as a guy you have to be extremely careful with.
And Giles rips that ball into the right field corner. Bradley gets over there quickly. Going to have a play on him, possibly. No, a little late. Giles with his 4th double of the season. And the Padres are in business early.
Right up in the heart of the plate, a changeup thrown a little too firmly by Rich Harden that time. We talk about Rich all the time. He needs a little bit of time to get the right split between his fastball and his changeup to really be at his best. That time Giles took advantage of a hanging changeup.
Veteran middle infielder David Eckstein plays second for the Padres. He squares to bunt and takes ball 1. Padres are second to last in the NL in runs. That's not a big surprise. They've been down near the bottom for quite some time. Their problem is they're 14th in ERA. They usually pitch a lot better. And while the Cubs will see Jake Peavy and Chris Young and former Cub Chad Godin in this series, other than their closer Heath Bell, they really patched together their bullpen. 2-0 pitch is popped up by Eckstein, and it's caught by Giovanni Soto. Boy, Eckstein handles the bat extremely well, and on a 2-0 pitch, he bunts and pops out.
Thought Eckstein might pull the bat back and try to slap one to the right side in that 2-0 count, but very uncharacteristically pops it up in foul territory. Giovanni Soto using the whole glove and his bare hand to make that catch.
Here's the one guy you can't let him beat you, and that is Adrian Gonzalez.
And with a base open, you'd have to believe Rich Harden is going to work the corners of the strike zone, try to stay out of the heart of the plate, as he comes right over the heart of the plate with the first pitch.
Taken all the way for a strike. Gonzalez on Sunday in a loss in Houston hit his 10th home run. It was his 100th home run as a member of the Padres. Tied for third in the National League in home runs, along with Alfonso Soriano among a couple of others. Bud Black, their manager, former major league pitcher. The pitch. High fly very deep to left, and the guy you can't let beat you just did a 2-run homer. Adrian Gonzalez goes opposite field. He got it up in the wind and makes it 2-0.
Well, no question, Len, a tactical mistake early in the ball game. Cubs had a base open down there at first. Didn't really have to throw anything close to the plate to Adrian Gonzalez. He goes down and golfs the pitch to the opposite field and got every bit of it well back into the bleachers the opposite way. You talked about Rich Harden trying to find the split between his fastball and his changeup. A lot of times it's hard for a pitcher in the first inning of a ball game to work around a hitter. You're out there trying to throw strikes, trying to establish a fastball and see what kind of a strike zone the home plate umpire is going to call on a given night. And all of a sudden, 3 batters into the game, you have an opportunity to pitch around the other team's best hitter. And that time, Rich just made a mistake down and out over the plate.
Swing and a miss by the left fielder Chase Headley. Switch batter batting left-handed. It's really early. I mean, this is only the 7th start of the year for Rich, but he has been so much better on the road. I mean, 5 runs better in terms of his ERA. 2.84 on the road, 7.82 at home. It's a very drastic split. Now the 3-2 swung on and missed. That's his first strikeout, 2 down.
You know, Len, not to belabor the point, but you have to look at Adrian Gonzalez in this lineup like you used to look at Barry Bonds in the Giants lineup or Albert Pujols in the Cardinals lineup. The one guy that you're just not going to give him an opportunity to do damage with runners in scoring position. With the exception of maybe Scott Hairston, who's not playing tonight, everybody on this Padres offensive roster has struggled mightily in the early going this season. You have to make somebody else on this team prove they can do damage before you let Adrian Gonzalez swing the bat.
His brother Edgar on the left. As they talk maybe about that home run.
Mom and Dad are really going to like that.
Jody Garrett, former Cub. From Lombard. And he fouls it back. Nice comeback season last year for Jody. His first major league action since 2005. With .296 with 14 homers in just 100 games. All kinds of knee problems. Another foul. We'll see the Padres in San Diego on the next trip, and the Cubs will also go back to San Diego later in the season. So this is the first of 9 meetings. Swing and a miss, and the inning is over. Leadoff double by Giles. 2 batters later, Gonzalez with the home run. The Cubs are coming up. Southwest starting lineup. Alfonso Soriano leads it off. Good numbers against Jake Peavy. Terrio at short. Fukudome in center. Derek Lee back in there for the first time in 6 games. Bradley, the former Padre. Fontenot at third. Soto, Miles, and Hardin. Rounded out for the first time in his last 3 starts. Jake Peavy has some run support. His last 2 starts combined 15 innings. 2 earned runs, and he didn't get a win. Tap to the second baseman, Eckstein, and Soriano's out. 1 pitch and 1 out.
Take a look at the Padres defensively. Chase Headley in left field. Jody Garrett out in center. Brian Giles will be in right field tonight. Kuzmanoff, Rodriguez, Eckstein, and Gonzalez across the infield. Familiar face behind home plate, Henry Blanco. Good old Hank White catching tonight. Right-hander Jake Peavy making his 7th start of the year. Fine earned run average. His team, as Len mentioned, hasn't scored a lot of runs for him this year.
Fastball strike to Ryan Theriot. Came off the bench on Sunday after getting hit in the ribs the night before, but he's feeling well. And we noticed right when he got in there defensively, took a big hopper that hit him in the ribs. The luck. I'm sure that had never happened to him before at this level. Ground ball that came up like that, it hit him right in the spot where he got hurt the night before.
And your instinct as an infielder, or as an outfielder for that matter, or a catcher, is just to keep that ball in front however you can when it takes a bad hop. And unfortunately, he put his bruised ribs right in line with that bad hop grounder. David Eckstein at second base is dealing with some bruised ribs himself. He got plunked on Sunday by Roy Oswalt.
I saw part of the game Peavy pitched in Los Angeles 2 starts ago. 8 innings, no runs, 2 hits. That game ended up being 1-0 Dodgers as they scored a run off their bullpen in the bottom of the 9th. Eckstein again. 2 outs. And Bob, he looked like the Jake Peavy of old. His ERA at one time early this year was at 5.74, but his last 2 times out, he's been really good.
He throws the fastball, big slurvy breaking ball and a straight changeup. And a lot like Carlos Marmolin, I think there are occasions when Jake Peavy's arm angle will drop a little bit too low. His hand gets underneath the ball rather than behind the ball. He tries to sink it, it tends to flatten out. That big slurvy breaking ball gets a little flatter, stays in the middle of the plate a little more often. But when he keeps his arm up just above sidearm, low 3/4, that's when he's usually at his best.
Good trip for Kosuke. 6 for 14. One ball and 2 strikes. Derek Lee is on deck. And Blanco held on. That's a strikeout, and the Cubs go down quietly in the first. It's 2-0 San Diego after 1. Time as a member of the home team, and he talked to our Kip Lewis before the game about his reaction when he got traded here from Baltimore.
Thank you, Jesus. I was just it's about as happy as a man can be. You know, if there's any more happiness, there'd have to be 2 of me. I just you know, just being in this league and seeing, you know, how these fans are and how this game is played and how involved these fans are, and it's just. It's a good feeling to be on this side of the fence and not the other side of the fence, because you know, these guys will wear you out over here. But no, it's awesome, man. I'm just so happy to be over here. I just, you know, sellout crowds and, you know, with all the tradition, it's great.
Milton Bradley goes back, and he was feeling for the wall. Never did get there as Kuzmanov flies to the warning track. Might see Ryan Friel in the starting lineup as early as tomorrow night. And good to see the Ivy almost in. Saw glimpses of it on the previous homestand.
Just in case you're not clear about Ryan Friel, he loves being here in Chicago. He was kind of wishy-washy there, you know.
Good to see Hank White back at Wrigley Field. Henry Blanco is Jake Peavy's personal catcher early on in the season. 3 of his 6 hits have left the yard. Got under one that time, and Soriano will come in, eyes it up. 2 outs. That's 4 straight set down since the 2-run homer by Gonzalez. There's a shortstop, Luis Rodriguez. Their future at shortstop's a guy named Everth Cabrera. We saw him in spring training. He has a broken hamate bone in his left hand. Runs extremely fast. And would be taking some playing time from Rodriguez, but Cabrera's on the disabled list. Rodriguez has gotten on base quite a bit. 389 on base.
Switch hitter, much better from the right side of the plate in the early going this year. A 316 hitter as a right-handed batter, only 222 from the left side. And among other things, that's one of the issues that the Padres have had to deal with. Of all the positions on the field where you'd like to have an everyday guy, shortstop is one of them. You'd really like to have the captain of the infield in that lineup every day. And as you mentioned, the injury and kind of a revolving door out there at shortstop right now. An unsettled situation in the infield.
He pops it up. Fontenot will make the catch. That was an 8-pitch second for Harden. Bottom 2-zip Padres. .705. Be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 females 14 and older will receive a Cubs makeup bag. Compliments of Bank of America. Surprised they didn't ask you to sign 10,000 of those bags.
How do you know they didn't?
Bob Brimley autographed makeup bag.
Oh, brother.
Derek Lee back in the lineup. Had an MRI on his ailing neck and basically showed the bulging disc. Nothing really had changed from a year ago, and feeling better, back in the lineup. was asking him about that MRI machine. It's not for everyone, especially when you have a neck or a head injury. I mean, not a lot of space between your nose and the machine, and not everybody can go in there without being sedated. If you're claustrophobic, it's a good 25 to 30 minutes. Derek said, I just closed my eyes, try not to think about it. Think about something else as he strikes out.
If you're not familiar with them, and there are newer MRI machines that are more open, but the old ones are like a cigar tube. There's just barely enough room to slide you into the tube. It can be unsettling, to say the least.
Former Padre Milton Bradley seems to be getting out of his early season slump. That ball's fair, backhanded by Gonzalez, and Jake Peavy hasn't broken a sweat. 5 quick outs for him.
He's thrown more warm-up pitches between innings than he's thrown during the innings. That's a common plan of attack against Jake Peavy. Try to get to him early. Don't let him settle into a rhythm out there on the mound. Attack the early counts to avoid that slurvy breaking ball.
16 pitches.
There's 8 warm-up pitches between innings, so that's about right.
Wow. Outside, Mike Fontenot. And talking about the weather, my wife and son picked me up in Milwaukee. We drove home, and as we were pulling into our driveway, I said, "It's the colors. It's unbelievable." And we spend the whole winter here in the Chicago area, and my son said, "It's like Wizard of Oz." He's 8. We went from black and white to color in a matter of about 2 weeks. That was pretty perceptive.
Yes, indeed. He was a perceptive young man.
Just puts you in a better mood, doesn't it? Walk around, there's green grass, leaves on the trees, flowers everywhere.
All giving off oxygen. That's just a wonderful situation.
Lots of kids at the ballpark.
Oh, yeah. Shirt sleeves on a night like this.
Pulled just foul.
Time for tonight's Jimmy John's delivery. Jake Peavy's delivery to the Cubs batters. Look at that low 3/4 arm angle. That time his arm was up a little bit higher, and like a lot of good pitchers in the National League, has himself in real good fielding position after he releases that ball. America's favorite sandwich delivery, guys, Jimmy John's.
It seems, Bob, like Peavy, more than most pitchers, his motion really pushes him toward the plate. Really propels him off the rubber. I'm sure it helps his velocity.
I'm sure it does. And like Greg Maddux, like any of the other good fielding pitchers in the game, Mike Hampton we saw down in Houston on the last road trip, has himself in good fielding position once he lets that ball go.
First base runner for the Cubs as Soto will come up after the walk to Fontenot. As a franchise, the Cubs tonight are looking for their 10,100th victory, going back to 1876. Now 10,099 wins. They've dominated the Padres in this park since 1969. 125 wins for the Cubs, only 85 losses versus San Diego. Talked to Gerald Perry, Cubs hitting coach, about Giovanni Soto, and Gerald thinks it's just a matter of time. Feels like Gio's there. He's being selective. Just waiting for him to get into that hot streak. And I said something we talked about on the air the other day. I said it'd be nice to see him hit his first home run, and Gerald completely agreed. I mean, you don't want a guy to start looking at his numbers going, I have to hit that first home run. I like to get it out of the way so he can relax and not worry about it.
it'd be nice, especially nice if it would come to the opposite field. I mean, certainly Gio's power is if he pulls the ball from left center toward the left field foul pole, but Gerald has told us many times for Giovanni Soto the key is his ability to drive that ball to the opposite field. He is mechanically in a good position when he's doing that.
Peavy turns 28 at the end of this month. The pitch hit foul. There's number 44, which is a number 1 by Hank Aaron. They're from the same hometown, Mobile, Alabama, but number 44 jersey is a coincidence, according to Peavy. Grew up in nearby Simms, S-E-M-N-E-S. 2-2 swing and a miss. He has struck out 3 through 2 innings, and he has a 2-0 lead. Chicago baseball doubleheader on Comcast Sportsnet at 10:30 in the morning. Start your day with White Sox baseball. Ozzie and the Sox will battle the rival Indians. At 7, Giovanni Soto and the Cubs will square off with Adrian Gonzalez and the Padres on the north side. A Chicago baseball doubleheader beginning tomorrow morning at 10:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. 1-0 on the pitcher Jake Peavy. A reminder, tonight's telecast on Comcast Sportsnet Plus for Comcast cable customers in the Chicago area. That's CLTV, and in high definition on channel 285. Visit csnchicago.com for complete channel information in your area. Caught Soto. Looks like he's fine.
Always a pitcher. There's usually a period of spring training every year where the pitchers get in there against live pitching to work on putting down sacrifice bunts, game speed pitches, and boy, you just do not want to be the guy that has to catch that practice. More of the bunts go back than go forward.
If you're watching Jake Peavy stand in there, you say to yourself, he looks like he could hit a little bit. You'd be right. Look at this swing, and let's see where it got it. Oh, it's inside guy there. Lined and caught by Fontenot. Well, Jake Peavy 0 for 12 this year, but a career 181 hitter with a couple of home runs.
Hit 265 last year for the Padres. 233 in 07 when he won the Cy Young Award in the National League.
But you know the Cy Young, they just give that to pitchers who can hit.
Yeah.
It's like Gold Gloves. Giles started the game with a double and scored 2 batters later on the home run by Gonzalez. Kind of hard to believe Brian Giles is still a Padre. He had a chance to go to Boston last year. That's what was reported, but he invoked his no trade clause, preferred to remain in San Diego.
Well, everybody has reasons for what they do, and it's not always apparent to those on the outside why somebody would make a decision like that. Certainly if he had gone to Boston, figured he'd have an opportunity to get into the postseason with a little more regularity than he will here in San Diego.
That's too high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Not too many guys of his stature in terms of where he's batted in his career end up leading off this late in a career, but he has a very good eye at the plate. Nearly as much power as he once had. We've discussed this before. It's really hard to think of anyone. I guess Willie Mays did it briefly at the end of his career, but guys who are 3 or 4 hitters and they become leadoff men. He hasn't done it that much this year. It's only the 7th time here in 2009. 2-2 pitch. Another foul. I think the equivalent would be a career left fielder becoming a second baseman or a shortstop. They usually go the other way.
Yep. Get you further away from the ball as your reflexes slow down later in your career.
In the case of Craig Biggio, he went from catcher to second. Backhanded by Miles, nicely done. Biggio then went to the outfield and went back to second. A unique career path.
Once again illustrating that you can put a catcher anywhere on the field and they'll get the job done. Aaron Miles with a nice play up the middle. Plenty of time to get Giles at first base. That looked like it was headed for center field, but Miles made up a lot of ground at the very end. Lost the body throw.
It's kind of hard to remember that when you think about it. Craig Biggio caught 125 games for the Astros in 1989. Actually, as I look at it, he went from catcher to outfield to second base to outfield to second base. And then didn't he catch a couple of innings in his final game just for fun?
I think that was probably a real good career move for him. He wasn't the biggest guy in stature, and I think that catching was really going to take its toll on his body, on his speed, probably take a toll on his offensive production, but the change in positions made him a great player.
0-2. Now this is going to be tough. Harden is one of the great strikeout pitchers in the game today, but David Eckstein doesn't strike out. Oh, he will strike out, but once about every 4 or 5 games.
Every 16.3 at bats to be exact. #1 in the National League. Only A.J. Pierzynski over on the south side has struck out fewer times in the majors.
Really chokes up on the bat.
Anytime you see a little guy like David Eckstein, call him pesky, but when you watch him in the batter's box, he looks pesky. You know, wiggling that bat around, kind of getting out of a crouch, choked up on the bat.
Half of Harden's pitches, 10 of them in this inning, have been hit foul. And he does strike out Eckstein. He's settling in after that first inning home run. Bottom 3, still 2-0 Padres. Aaron Miles batting 8th, playing 2nd. And it's 0-2. Harden's on deck, and then Soriano for the Cubs. One note from the manager before the game: he would like his guys to be a little more selective with runners in scoring position. But there is a catch. You've got to get somebody in scoring position. I haven't done that early on. Not easy against Jake Peavy. It's golfed down into short left center, but it's going to be handled by Headley. Hey, Cub fans, you can get a full meal for under $5 thanks to McDonald's Appetite Stimulus Package. A hot sandwich, a cold drink, and delicious fries, all for under $5. Harden bunts, but Peavy off the mound in a hurry. You've already seen a couple of examples of how great an athlete Jake Peavy is. He can hit, he can field, and we know he can pitch. There's Doug Levy, general manager of La Tremenda, AM 1200. Cubs are on Spanish radio tonight. One of the 20 broadcasts in Spanish this year. Elio Benitez and Hector Fabregas with a call. Here's a 1-0 to Soriano. That's off the plate inside. I think we both wish we could have talked to Greg Maddux for about an hour the day number 31 was retired in honor of Maddux and Jenkins. It would have been nice to ask him about Jake Peavy since they were teammates. And when he came up, he said he went. You be the judge. Oh, no. Not with you, Fonzie. Swing and a miss, 2-2. But when Peavy came up, you kept hearing, he's a young Greg Maddux who throws hard. Well, he might be the only guy you've heard that about that it's true.
Both great fielders, both handle the bat well.
That's a fair ball past the bag and past Kuzminoff for the first hit for the Cubs as Soriano will stand at second base with a 2-out double.
They got fooled just a little bit by that breaking ball, rolled over, but put it right down the third baseline away from a diving Kevin Kuzminoff, all the way down into the Cubs bullpen for an easy double. Another similarity between Peavy and Maddux early in their careers, and to a certain extent still for Jake Peavy. A little irritated out there on the mound. More so with themselves when they don't execute the pitch they're trying to execute. But I remember early in his career, Mad Dog used to bark at himself out there on the mound all the time.
Now a runner in scoring position and a swing and a miss. Terrio's been late a couple of times, 0-2. Jake Peavy was this past winter's Brian Roberts. There were all kinds of rumors and reports that he might be headed here. But he's still with the Padres. He's trying to beat the Cubs tonight just off the plate.
I think the one that really got me going, and the rumor was when Jake Peavy was in Las Vegas for an event and supposedly was heard singing "Go Cubs Go" in a nightclub in Las Vegas. I think that's the one that first got my interest going.
Yeah, that was interesting. I'm curious if it's true. Well, he's not singing that right now, I can tell you that. He has struck out 4, and Padres lead 2-0. Around dusk. And as Harden starts, Adrian Gonzalez with a fastball on the outside corner, strike 1. Gonzalez took him deep in the first inning. Now 3 for 3 against him in his career. Got some news on the upcoming rotation. Gonzalez with 10 bombs already against righties. Ryan Dempster's going to come back and pitch on Thursday, so that'll be on normal rest. Randy Wells there on the left is going to pitch Friday against the Astros. Lee will take it by himself, and Sean Marshall on Saturday. Coy Hill's not starting in terms of pitching, but he's sitting there with those other guys.
Somebody has to translate for those pitchers.
Headley struck out in the first. Carlos Zambrano, who's on the DL with a hamstring injury, is slated to work a rehab game in the Florida State League in Clearwater, Florida on Saturday or Sunday. He's going to take BP tomorrow. He's going to cover first base, run the bases lightly, join the team in St. Louis next week, and possibly could be back in the rotation a week from Friday in San Diego. And when he comes back, somebody's going to have to go to the pen, and it'll either be Marshall or Wells. But based on everything Lou has said to this point, it's always subject to change. It sounds like Randy Wells is going to stay here even when Z comes back.
Well, certainly it's attractive thinking about sending Sean Marshall to the bullpen because it gives you the second lefty down there to play those matchups. But Sean Marshall's actually gotten better each time out in the rotation. Randy Wells was very impressive. Had to battle, had to bob and weave a little bit, but got through 5 innings of shutout baseball his first start. Well, it will figure itself out.
The 2-2 called strike 3.
Aflac.
Time for our Aflac trivia question. How many sluggers were in the 500 club when Ernie Banks joined them on May 12, 1970? That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, I know one would have to be Babe Ruth. I think he was in the 700 club at that point. Garrett slipped out of the box. Not going to matter as Soriano will make the catch. I'll try to add up the members of the 500 club back in 1970 when we come back. 2-0. I want us to see if we can get it here without cheating. 1970, Ernie Banks hit his 500th home run. So you've got Babe Ruth. Hank Aaron would have been there by 1970, right?
Yeah.
Frank Robinson? Maybe? No?
I think Frank played a little later into his career.
So I guess the question is, did he hit, what, 80-some home runs after 1970? Apparently he did, as I'm being told. So he's not on that list. Willie Mays, I'm sure, was on that list. Are you cheating over there? What are you doing?
I'm trying to cheat, but you know me and computers. I have no chance.
500. Who else? Is there somebody else on that list? 5 more. Oh, okay. Mel Ott. Base hit left field. Fukudome is going to try for 2. And stop there. Leadoff double.
We saw Kosuke Fukudome pulling a lot of pitches earlier in the season. This time takes a tailing fastball from Jake Peavy and slaps it the other way. That ball shot by Chase Headley out there in left field. If he had any trouble corralling that off the vines out there, Fukudome may have had ideas about going for third base, but with the leadoff double, he's already in scoring position for Dealey.
Derek struck out in his first at bat since coming back from the neck injury. And a pitch by Peavy. He was taken for a strike. Do you have any other big home run hitters you'd like to add to the list? Apparently there are several more.
Did you guess Eddie Matthews?
Oh, Eddie Matthews would be a good choice. Good call.
Jimmy Fox.
Close. Peavy is getting ahead of just about everybody. 11 first pitch strikes. He's faced 13 hitters. It's an excellent percentage. Outside, 1-2.
What year are we talking about? 1970?
1970. See, that's where I got tripped up on Frank Robinson. I think he had 586. That gets away. Kosuke's trying to get to third. He will without a throw. Nice base running. You know Henry has a cannon back there, but the ball got away just far enough to allow Fukudome to get the third base on a wild pitch.
Good base running by Fukudome. Got a good jump on that pitch in the dirt. Henry Blanco blocked it. It didn't get far away, but with the great jump Kosuke had, he was able to advance easily.
But Derek trying to make some good contact, and if he does, he'll get an RBI. They're playing back all around. How many homers did Luke Gehrig hit? 2-2, swing and a miss. But Derek just broke his bat, slammed it down in frustration.
Fly.
All right, let's find out. So how many in the 500 club when Ernie Banks joined it?
Fly.
1970. 8 of them. Get you the list here in a second.
Ted Williams.
Oh, Ted Williams.
Should have had that one.
So I guess Mickey Mantle. All right. Most of them. So Ernie was a 9th member of that club. swing by Bradley, 2-1. There are now 25 members of the 500 home run club. Gary Sheffield, the latest.
16 since Ernie joined.
Two and two. Good check swing there, 3-2. Tell Peavy's putting a little extra mustard on these pitches. He's looking for a strikeout.
Well, you'll hear him grunt out there on the mound occasionally. That's reminiscent of Nolan Ryan back in his heyday.
He blew it by him. So he has struck out Lee and Bradley. But Ernie didn't strike out in this at bat 39 years ago today.
Jarvis fires away. That's a fly ball. Deep to left. Back. That's it. Hey! He did it. Ernie Banks got number 500. A line drive shot in the seats and left. The ball tossed to the bullpen.
Great Jack Brickhouse with a call.
Came off of Pat Jarvis. Rico Carty was the left fielder that caught that ball after it caromed from the bleachers back onto the field and tossed it over into the Cubs bullpen so Ernie could have it forever. Or donated to the Hall of Fame. I'm not sure what he did with his 500th home run ball. He got 500 hits, and I thought that was a big deal. Yeah, the funny thing about that game, Len, you couldn't really tell from that highlight, but back in 1970, only 5,264 fans in attendance that day.
Off his third, Kuzman off, taking a look. No play. I think we tend to take it for granted that this place is always pretty much full, but that hasn't always been the case. Cubs now regularly drawing over 3 million fans per season. Good block by Henry Blanco. We saw a lot of that when he was a member of the Cubs. Textbook right there.
Yeah, it really was, and he allowed for the spin on the ball on that slider. It's always going to kick back to your left as a catcher. A right-handed slider is going to kick back to your left. So that time Henry didn't slide out where you would think a catcher would go to block that ball. He stayed a little bit on the left side of it, came right back and hit him in the middle of the chest protector.
Another foul by Fontenot. Night game, and Henry with some white tape on his fingers to help PD locate the signs. I know you preferred fingernail polish, but everybody's different.
We used to always just go to the body signs, touching the shin guard, the mask, the chest protector. Every touch meant something for the guys that couldn't see the fingers.
3-2, caught by Kuzmanoff as he robs Fontenot. Diving play by Kevin Kuzmanoff, and he keeps the Cubs at 0, 2-0 after 4. Mezzanine Suites presented by Nuveen Investments. Suites are available now for games during the season. Be sure to ask about the May incentives. To book your suite or for more info, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-Cubs. Well, Kuzminoff took away what would have been the Cubs' first run.
Oh, smoked, headed for that left field corner. I can't tell you what a good play that is. As a corner infielder, you never anticipate, for example, Kuzminoff, a left-handed batter driving the ball hard the opposite way. Mike Fontenot did drive that ball hard toward the left field corner, but Kuzminoff laid out parallel to the ground to snag it.
Did that play remind you of one we saw recently that put the Cubs third baseman on the disabled list? Now this one was not a ground ball, and you see how he lands, kind of a soft landing. Ramirez unfortunately didn't really have time to land gracefully and suffered a dislocated left shoulder, but that's the kind of play that can put you on the shelf.
No question about it. Get out there fully extended. You can't really protect yourself against the ground.
Swing and a miss, 3-2. Shouldn't even say this without asking someone who actually knows the answer, but I'm sure it didn't help that Aramis has suffered a dislocated shoulder already previously twice. I'm assuming he would be more susceptible to that happening again, but we have a lot of experts we can ask.
Yeah, it seems to make sense, though. If you've had some past dislocations, you would have to believe that there's some instability built into the joint after a couple of dislocations.
And we can also ask Aramis, are you going to think twice about making that sort of dive? I mean, I hate to ask the question, but I saw him today as Terrio throws out Kuzminoff. I said, it was a great play. He kind of shrugged his shoulders like, yeah, but look what happened.
In the heat of battle out there during the course of the ball game, though, I don't know, especially a third baseman, you don't really have that much time to think. You just have to react to those smashes hit down your way.
Rich Harden, oh, by the way, has retired 12 in a row since the Gonzalez home run. It's been his only hiccup of the night.
Find out what his cure for the hiccups is. Sometimes you get them and you can't get rid of them, but Rich got rid of them quickly tonight.
We didn't see it, but he had a big glass of water. Come on, baby. Oh, nice try. Oh, you're going to hear from the fans now.
It wasn't my play. That's what we were talking about. I was overextended. Didn't want to dislocate my shoulder. I almost lost my watch.
Yeah, you did. Oh, man, are you hearing it from the fans? Swing and a miss. That's a strikeout. Good effort.
Well, look at the next one. That thing had some teeth on it.
Yeah, it did. It had a broken finger written all over it. Because it wasn't actually in the booth. It was in front of our booth.
And that was a good save by you to keep the monitor from tumbling out on top of some fans right below us.
Well, it's in our contract. The monitors are much more valuable than we are.
Save the monitors. I knew that Harry's old net. Big old fishing net he used to have up here in the booth.
All the fans right below the booth, they're all yelling at you before the game. Hey, Bob, hey, can you sign this for me? The minute you drop it, boo, you're terrible.
See, what they don't realize is I actually caught that ball and tossed it to a kid so quickly they didn't see that I actually had possession. It's like that play at second base where the umpire comes running over, say, yeah, he was taking it out of his glove. Well, that's what I did. I just got rid of it real quickly. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
2-1 to Rodriguez. Peavy on deck. Now it's 2-2. 5 strikeouts already for Rich Harden. Doesn't want to give up any more with the way Peavy has dealt. And Scott Berry said no.
Rodriguez able to check the swing. Not the same as Alfonso Soriano did earlier.
Ball 4. First walk given up by Harden. Had some rain in Pittsburgh tonight, but when they played, the Pirates have dominated the Cardinals. Bottom of the 8th, 7-1 Pittsburgh. Zach Duke off to an excellent start this year. He's gone the distance, only 1 run allowed. Tough night for Todd Wellemeyer, 4 1/3, 7 runs. Albert Pujols, however, did homer.
That was in the first inning of that ball game. Zach Duke has put up zeros for the next 7. And 4 hits for the Cardinals.
Lance Berkman back in the lineup for Houston. He missed the weekend with a sore left wrist. Suffered in that final game of last week's series against the Cubs on a check swing against Carlos Marmol. But they're in Colorado tonight. It's 1-0 Rockies in the top of the 3rd. Well, Jake Peavy yells at himself on the mound and at the plate. I believe that was Jake Peavy I heard.
Well, that walk to Rodriguez significant in that it was the first one for Rich Harden in the game, and also it gets Peavy to the plate here in this inning. You know, I like to talk about lineups rolling over.
Lined at Terrio, so Peavy has lined out to the left side of the infield twice. He'll go back to work on the mound. Soto, Miles, and Harden coming up for the Cubs. 2-0 San Diego. 2-0 San Diego, and we expected these starting pitchers to be on their game tonight, and that's been the case.
Well, you look at the probable starters in a series, and you always anticipate what that game may shape up to be like. Now, it doesn't always come true, but Rich Harden and Jake Peavy, two big-time strikeout pitchers, both on top of their game here tonight.
I think one big key for the Cubs is to get into the Padre bullpen.
I mentioned earlier one of the issues the Padres had was the lack of a regular shortstop. Another issue is the young pitchers in the bullpen. A lot of very young arms, inexperienced, getting battle tested here this year.
2-1 on Soto, and they do not have a lefty in their pen. They're all right-handed. Three and one. So if you're Michael Hoffpower, you're thinking, well, even though I'm not in the lineup, I'm probably going to get an AB.
Oh, and believe me, the bench players look at that. Who do they have available out of the pen? Who am I likely to face late in a game if there's a pinch hit situation? And Michael Hoffpower and the switch hitters, Bobby Scales and Coy Hill, figure to be used, especially Michael Hoffpower.
The wind and the payoff delivery just missed outside. That's a leadoff free pass. And the Cubs have the first batter of an inning on for the second straight inning. Now the Coors Light freeze cam. We thought it might be tape, but now we're thinking it's some sort of paint or maybe whiteout on the fingers of Padre catcher Henry Blanco.
Even though the field is brightly lit here at Wrigley Field, when the catcher gets down in his crouch, there's some shadows. It's tough for the pitcher sometimes to see the signs. And that's kind of become the trendy thing to do, the white out or the nail polish on the back of the fingers, because that way it doesn't interfere with your throw whatsoever. Put tape on your finger, even minimally, it's going to affect the way you grip and throw the baseball when that tape is wrapped all the way around your finger.
You know what color it is? Blanco.
Ooh, very nice.
I wish I could take credit for it. Producer Bob Albrecht all over it. Charter member of the Hank White fan club. 2 strikes on Aaron Miles. Soto at first, nobody out. Adrian Gonzalez with a 2-run homer in the opening inning. That's been it for the scoring. Cubs with a great chance in the 4th inning. Runner at third, no outs. But then Peavy got out of it, struck out Lee, Bradley, and then Fontenot lined out on a nifty play by Kevin Kuzmino. The kick and the pitch. That's foul. Speaking of the 500 home run club, Jim Thome with a couple tonight for the White Sox against his former team, the Indians. He now has 547 in his career. He's one back of Mike Schmidt for 13th on the all-time list. White Sox lead that game 5-4 in the bottom of the 6th. Jose Contreras is back in the minor leagues to work on his forkball.
Well, we were talking about that 500 home run club and that Ernie Banks was member number 9 when he joined in 1970. There have been 9 players to join the 500 home run club since the year 2000.
Wow. Got him. Peavy now at 19 punch-outs his last 2 starts, including 7 already tonight.
It's that backdoor breaking ball. Hard slider starts just off of the outside corner. Hitter, you see that ball breaking back toward that outside corner, you just hope the umpire either misses the call or that pitch stays out there far enough that he calls it a ball, because you know you can't do anything to swing at it and stay alive in the at bat.
Well, 2 of the great strikeout artists in the game today. Rich Harden, 11.65 Ks per 9 innings, third in the majors. Peavy among the leaders in that category as well. Bunted pretty hard. They're going to throw to first. Peavy thought about second base. Decided to take the sure throw. Second sacrifice of the year for Harden.
A few years ago, Jake Peavy might have tried to make that throw to second base. His idea is to get the lead runner right there. And then he thinks better of it, decides just to go to first base and get the sure out. There was a time early in his career he might have airmailed that ball out into center field trying to get the lead runner.
Pulled foul.
He's a little frustrated right there. That was a good pitch for him to hit. That was a breaking ball that stayed on the inside part of the plate and down a little bit. Just got out in front of him.
How did she know she was going to be on TV? Oh, that's a gapper. It'll be, no, not cut off. It gets past Headley. Soto was going to score either way. And it's 2-1. Soriano with his second hit of the night. Drives in his 21st run.
A sinker down the middle of the plate. Right down there where Fonzie likes it. Headley just didn't get down there to corral that ball. All the way to the wall, and now Soriano in scoring position. Hey, Len, you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get against Jake Peavy in a ball game. With 2 outs in the inning here, Cubs need something big.
Tying run in scoring position. And the pitch to Terrio is a bit away. 1-1.
One of those patented Ryan Terrio singles to right field. Brian Giles, the Padres right fielder, does not throw well at all.
Lined and caught by Giles. He hit it really hard, but to the wrong spot. They do get on the board, however. We'll head to the 6th. 2-1 Padres.
Watch the Cubs take on the Astros this Sunday at 1:20. Kids get there early. The first 5,000 children 13 and younger will receive a Webkins Littlekins Panda Bear compliments of Pepsi.
2-1 the score. Third time around for the Padres. Giles, Eckstein, Gonzalez. Adam Burrish from the victorious Blackhawks. He had enough energy after that incredible 6-game series to come out to the ballpark tonight. What a game 6 last night. 7-5. End to end. Blackhawks, they just kept persevering.
I know you were there live, partner. I had the great pleasure of staying at home and watching Pat and Ed, and what a great job the Comcast crew did on that game last night. Outstanding.
Let's see if Soto has enough room. He does. So now they await the winner of the Detroit-Anaheim series. Game 6 tonight in Southern California, with the Red Wings leading 3-2. Can you imagine Wings, Hawks in the conference finals? Well, we'll see. One and nothing on Eckstein.
Patrick Kane even alluded to that after the ball game last night. Of course, as a player, you know, we don't care who we play. We respect all of our opponents. We just want to take care of our own business. But boy, what a series that would be.
The other thing about Eckstein, if you just looked at him, you'd say it's about 35 degrees inside Wrigley Field. The long sleeves, the batting gloves, looks like the kind of the half turtleneck. Rich Harden never wears long sleeves when he pitches, and it's turned into a nice warm evening. Low to mid 60s. 3-2. Well, I guess David's from Florida. I'm sure it does feel a little cold to him.
Funny how that works. Guys will find something that they're comfortable with. I know a lot of players that wear long johns under their baseball pants every day, all summer long.
Nice play by Derek. The spin, and Harden can't get to the bag to get the throw. Even if he got the throw, I'm not convinced he would have beaten Eckstein. It'll be a hit.
It looked like he got a little bit of a late start off the mound right there. Oh, what a great extension play by Derek Lee to keep that ball from going down into the corner for extra bases. Shot like a bullet. Derek goes into foul territory, has to wait for Harden to get there. That late start off the mound cost him an opportunity or a possibility of getting an out at first base.
So that is their first hit since the guy at the plate gave them the lead in the first inning with a home run. Slide and block by Soto.
Padres don't run much. Only 16 stolen bases in 20 attempts on the season. Believe it or not, Chase Headley leads the Padres with 4 stolen bases this season. David Eckstein over there at first base. Perfect 1-for-1. He's only tried once and he made it.
They made the most of their attempts. A.J. Burnett's return to Toronto didn't go very well for him tonight. He lost to Roy Halladay, who hasn't. Halladay got a 7th win. a complete game 5-hitter as the Blue Jays beat the Yankees 5-1. It's safe to say Roy Halladay is the best pitcher not enough people know about.
I think that's very safe to say. Although if you talk to hitters around the American League and those who have faced him from the National League, they would say they know all about it.
He has been pitching in relative obscurity for many years in Canada. Base hit for Gonzalez.
A lot like Adrian Gonzalez, toiling away in San Diego, probably doesn't get the national recognition that he deserves. This guy's one of the best hitters in the game today.
So action, Aaron Heilman throwing. Lester Strode back with the team after traveling to Arkansas to be there with his son Blake as he graduated from college. So with Lester here and Sinatra's back at first base. And it's Headley at the plate with 2 on and 1 out. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Josh Hamilton off the disabled list. And in the lineup with Texas tonight, he had a strained rib cage. He's gone 0 for 3, but the Rangers lead the Mariners 1-0 in the 6th. Gio's had a busy inning. Seems to be getting in a groove back there with the blocks.
He's had plenty of chances over the last 3 or 4 days. Runs in cycles. You might go a game or 2 without ever really having to block a ball in a key situation with runners on base, and then all of a sudden you may have to do it a dozen times in a game with runners at third base. It's like those collision plays at the plate. Some guys go a whole season without ever having a bang bang collision play at home plate, and they come out one day and have 3 of them in the same game.
The 2-1 pitch. He's gone to a 3-1 count, and he's also gotten to 100 pitches on the night. Headley was a Padres' top prospect according to Baseball America last year. He's a converted third baseman. Second round pick in 05. He hits a double play ball. 4-6-3. They turn it to get out of the 6th inning. Pucadome, Lee, and Bradley with the Cubs trailing by 1. Rich Harden getting out of the top of the 6th. 3, 4, and 5 now for the Cubs against Jake Peavy.
And what a nifty double play it was. Aaron Miles with a long backhanded flip to Ryan Theriot. That's all the other middle infielder asks is get me the ball quickly so I can get rid of it to first base and get out of the way of that sliding runner.
Peavy rocks and fires 3-0. Seven hits combined, that's it. 4 for the Padres, 3 for the Cubs. Cubs are just 1 for 6 with men in scoring position. Driven the other way, Headley chasing, he won't get it. Leadoff double for Fukudome.
Second time Kosuke's gone the opposite way. This time he really smokes this ball over the head of Chase Headley. I think Headley got fooled a little bit. Looked like he had a bead on it, but that ball just kept accelerating. Remember, the wind is blowing from the right field corner to the left field corner. May have helped that one a little bit. And now you really need either an RBI or a productive out from Derek Lee. Came up back in the 4th inning after the leadoff double by Fukudome and struck out. Milton Bradley then followed with a strikeout. Fondo lined out to third base. As I said before, you don't know how many shots you're going to get at Jake Peavy.
All 4 Cubs hits have been doubles. 2 by Soriano, the other 2 by Fukudome. He's gone behind the first 2 batters of this inning after getting ahead for pretty much all of the first 5 innings.
Looked like a 2-0 changeup from Jake Peavy.
Here he comes again, outside corner, 2-2. Can't say I've ever seen Derek break it back, slamming it down like he did his last time up, as he struck out with Kosuke at third and nobody out at the time.
He's been out of game action for 5 days, and it's amazing how quickly you can lose your timing.
Called strike 3.
We know Derek's been taking batting practice every day, even with the neck spasms, but there's nothing you can simulate in batting practice. It's going to be like a Jake Peavy 93-mile-an-hour sinker or that nasty slider off the outside corner. You just have to get some game speed at bats to get your timing back again.
He struck out all 3 times. Here's Bradley, who struck out swinging his last time up. He's 0 for 2. And now 1 for 14 against his former Padre teammate. Edwin Moreno is up in the visitors' pen. pitch. High deep drive by Bradley, and the Cubs are going to get the lead. Way back to right center. That's one of the longest home runs we've seen this year. Well over 400 feet. That ball is massacred. It's 3-2.
Wow. We told you in the open of the show, Milton Bradley's starting to heat up. That's a fastball outer third. Our Heineken home run replay. Get out your tape measures. That ball very nearly reached the upper bleachers out there just to the right of straightaway center field. A mammoth home run off the bat of Milton Bradley.
So the Cubs lead for the first time tonight. It was behind the front section of the bleachers. It landed in the aisle, just beneath the upper portion. What a blast. Fourth homer of the year. Cubs have scored all their runs in the last 2 innings. That's the kind of swing and contact where he probably didn't even feel it. I mean, the sweetest spot of the bat. Swing and a miss. Fontenot fans, 2 outs. For individual health insurance from a name you can trust, call Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois at 866-575-BLUE. Foul pop out of play by Soto.
You'd like to think Milton Bradley's all the way back and may never go through another slump the rest of the year. That's probably not realistic, but in an odd kind of way, it's been fun to watch the way this season has unfolded for Milton Bradley. Got off to the slow start, was getting booed here at home, really fighting himself at the plate. We saw some evidence of frustration down in Houston on that last road trip, and then just like the ivy blooming on the walls out there, all of a sudden he just started to have better at bats. He started to hit the ball a little bit harder, take his walks, work those good counts, and now he appears to be locked in up there at the plate.
Just like he was in spring training, really throughout spring camp. Now he's doing it when it counts. Bottom hand came off the bat. 2-2.
Take a little extra time to regroup before getting back in that box. I'm not sure exactly what it is that causes that to happen for Giovanni Soto. We see it maybe once a week, sometimes a little bit more, usually when he gets fooled with an off-speed pitch. The bottom hand seems to come off the bat, and then he lines one up the middle.
His first hit, 1 for 2.
Gio just doesn't look comfortable with that left hand. Even after that base hit back up the middle of the field, he was shaking that left hand all the way down the first baseline. Clean single back up the middle, but you can see him still shaking his hand. That's nothing serious.
Well, whenever we ask him, he says it's not a big deal. It's something that's happened before, and he says it doesn't hurt. But it looks like it causes a little discomfort at the least. Miles grounds out. Bradley with the booming go-ahead home run. He had the game-winning RBI Sunday, hoping to have another one tonight. 3-2. Chicago baseball doubleheader on Comcast Sportsnet at 10:30. Starts your day with a White Sox and the Indians at 7. The Cubs will host the Padres here on the north side. A Chicago baseball doubleheader beginning tomorrow morning at 10:30 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Aaron Heilman out of the pen as Rich Harden has a chance for a win tonight. Harden went 6, gave up 2 runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. The homer in the first, but that was it. And the 1-0 to Jody Garrett's outside, 2-0, and this is something we've seen quite often from Aaron Heilman and some of the other Cubs relievers as well, getting behind hitters. Way too many walks. The Cubs bullpen with 64 walks, the most among all major league pens. That's a strike. 2-1 on Garrett. Swung on and missed. Back in at 2-2. Comebacker base hit. Bob, I don't know. I think Aaron Heilman worked from the windup previously and was from the stretch there. Maybe just a little tweak.
Trying to simplify his delivery perhaps a little bit. Heilman doesn't usually get hit very hard when he's in the strike zone. This time the comebacker gets past him into center field for a base hit. It'd probably tell you he should have made that play. He gets into trouble when he starts walking guys, and as you mentioned, falling behind in the count, and then you have to come in with a strike, and that's when hitters can really get aggressive and do some damage.
The first batter has reached about half the times in Heilman's appearances. Neil Cox is up. One strike on Kuzmanov. Tying run on base. 3-2 Cubs on Milton Bradley's 2-run homer. Edward Mujica has joined Edwin Moreno in the bullpen. Dancing off for first base and forces Heilman to take his foot off the rubber. Who has to be very happy with his starting pitcher tonight. Giving his team a chance and leaving with the lead against one of the league's best in Jake Peavy.
Keeping an eye on Jody Garrett over there at first base. He represents a tying run in this ball game. There was a time he would be a threat to steal a base. He was 6 out of 10 last year. Some 20 stolen base seasons earlier in his career in the minor leagues. Only 1 out of 1 so far this year.
Broke his bat on a pop-up, and Heilman will have to catch it right on the mound. Lou Pinella's favorite spot to hang after the game is Harry Carey's Tavern at the corner of Sheffield and Addison. Go where Lou goes for Wrigleyville's best salads, pizzas, and burgers. Call 773-HOLY-COW or visit harrycareystavern.com for reservations. Northwestern football coach Pat Fitzgerald will tackle our 7th inning stretch tonight. Blanco 0 for 2, a fly out and a strikeout. Garrett runs. Here's a throw by Soto, and the ball never did get in the glove of Aaron Miles. It's a stolen base for Garrett, and he's 2 for 2 on the year.
Pretty good jump over there at first base, kind of dragging that bad leg behind him. Giovanni Soto had to pick that ball off of home plate on a hop. His throw to second base was on a hop to Aaron Miles, and he just couldn't come up with it cleanly down there in time to apply the tag.
One and one.
Given the fact the Padres haven't been able to score a lot of runs this year and they trail by 1 in the game, you have to believe Glenn Hoffman's going to be real aggressive in that third base coach's box if he's got any chance at all to send Garrett home on a base hit.
Slider missed low. 2 and 1. Trevor Hoffman's no longer with the Padres, but his older brother Glenn still is third base.
And we've talked to Mike Quaddy about it before, the decision-making process as a third base coach, when to send a guy, when to hold a guy. And Glenn Hoffman is very aware that the Cubs have Carlos Marmol and Kevin Gregg available for the 8th and 9th inning today. You don't figure to get much against those guys, so I think Hoffman's going to be really aggressive if he can be.
The 3-1 dribble down the first base line. Heilman will pick it up and tag Blanco, with Garrett moving to third. 2 outs in the inning.
A cue shot off the end of the bat by Hank White. So far, Aaron Heilman has caught a pop-up and made an unassisted play in the first baseline. Now that takes the onus off of the Cubs' outfield arms and puts it on Giovanni Soto behind the plate. That runner moving from second to third. Now you're worried about a ball in the dirt possibly getting past.
So it's up to Rodriguez. Fontenot plays with his toes right at the edge of the grass at third. Derek Lee in maybe a step. They back up the middle. Guzman cranking it up along with Kotz. Angel available tonight after the off day yesterday. 2 shutout innings on Sunday for Guzman. Oh, and 2. $39,963 in the yard tonight, and they're getting up on their feet. Studying the signs, now has the one he wants. And here's 1-2 pitch, a fly ball to left. Soriano's going back on it. Makes a catch, inning over, time for the stretch.
After the ball game is the Northwestern head football coach, Pat Fitzgerald.
All right, Cub fans, let me hear you now. A 1, a
2.
Right-hander Edwin Moreno is on for the Padres. Signed originally by Texas back in 1998. Cubs lead this one 3-2. Bobby Scales getting a pinch hit appearance against his original organization. A high deep drive. Bobby Scales with his first career homer. And he just went around the bases about as quickly as any player in big league history after a home run. How about that? Tell you, Bob, he's gotten off to a blistering start.
He puts a nice swing on the ball. We've seen him drive some pitches to the opposite field as a left-handed hitter, but that time went up there cherry-picking that first fastball he saw, and he clubbed it to right field.
4-2 the score. Northwestern football coach Pat Fitzgerald is with us. How about that?
I'd take that speed on the edge for us at receiver or DB. Slow down a little bit there, big fella. Act like you've been there before, huh?
Yeah,
great hit.
Great.
That was great.
Bobby Scales now with a triple, a home run, and he's gone 6 for 14 as a major leaguer.
Heineken home run replay. First pitch fastball out over the plate. You know, we speculated earlier that the left-handed bats off the bench for the Cubs might end up being important in this game with an all right-handed bullpen for the Padres, and Bobby Scales jumping off that bench and going deep.
Well, Coach, what a year for Northwestern football, and for you personally, going into the College Football Hall of Fame. Saw you at the Hawks game last night. Life's good right now.
Well, it is, and we added our third son, Brendan, here 3 months ago, and proud of our program, proud of the way our guys played last year. Our coaches did a tremendous job, and now is a critical time for every football team. The chemistry and attitudes form in the summer, and it's a critical couple months.
Hawks game last night, Cubs game tonight. Probably be on the Oprah show tomorrow, and then the View. And
I don't know about
making
that.
The rounds.
I don't know. I'm just honored to be here and happy to be here. But it's a NU day here at Wrigley, and I appreciate the Cubs offering the opportunity for myself to be here. We got a bunch of Cub fans out there in left field at a rooftop on waving our booster club and having a great time. And it's just great to be a Chicagoan. What a great time in this city right now. The Hawks are going to the Western Conference Finals. We get the Cubbies healthy. What a great time.
1-2 on Soriano. Starting her 4th year at the helm at Northwestern. Another deep drive. This one to left by Soriano, but in the well is Headley to make the play. Let's get your first pitch.
Now, you've done this often enough to know you can't bounce it.
Yeah, and I also know that the shoes I have on, if I stepped on that mound, that would have been a YouTube video. So at the end of the day, I think I went from the shorter tees there a little bit, but it's great. It's a great honor. High school baseball player, not very good, so it's just an honor to be here at Wrigley. And
ground ball to second as Eckstein moves up and throws out Ryan Terrio. So tell us about your club a little bit.
Well, we've got a number of starters coming back, but I think what's more impressive about our young men is to win 9 games, represent the Big Ten in the Alamo Bowl, and not be satisfied. And we have a driven football team right now, and that's all you can ask for, is to have that opportunity to have a team that's driven, focused. And we continue to take the right steps, come into camp in great shape, open up against Towson. I'll be excited if we start the right way. But 7 home games again this year. We've got our 3-packs on sale right now, and we've got a big game down the road in October on Halloween against Penn State, 3:30 kickoff. Should be fun, Halloween night in Evanston up at Ryan Field. But we also have Wisconsin coming back on the home schedule, which we haven't had in a number of years. So it's a lot of excitement. We believe we've really fought through some difficult adversity when we lost Coach Walk. We continue to remember him every day in the way that we work. But I'm proud of the job that our staff and our players have done. And hopefully we continue to take the proper steps and just keep working hard to improve.
We generally stay out of the political talk here, but I just have to read the sentence that you have been appointed to the Illinois Ethics Reform Commission, formed to help reform government ethics in the state of Illinois. It's got to be an interesting job right now. Let's just put it that way.
I learned quite a bit. I'll put it to you that way. And I'm honored to have that opportunity from Governor Quinn, and he was the lieutenant governor at the time when he appointed us commissioners, and Patrick Collins and all of our commission. We put together hopefully some proposals that the state will take seriously, and what a great opportunity to help make change, and was very honored to have that opportunity, and hopefully that change will happen here soon. Could flip it around and have the state of Illinois looked at the right way that it should be, and with pride, and being one of the symbols of this great country, and as opposed to being a punchline on a talk show, and hopefully that corner can be turned here quickly.
Absolutely. So you're going to be down at South Bend in July, right?
We are, and the Hall of Fame. And
Kosuke hustling, he's going to beat it out. Rodriguez actually seemed to take a wrong turn on that ground ball toward the hole. He had a long way to go get it, and Kosuke with his 3rd hit of the night.
I'm not sure exactly what happened to Rodriguez there. It looked like he went to his left initially and then changed directions. Kosuke really driving that ball to the opposite field well tonight. Head right down the barrel of the bat. Hard grounder toward the hole between 3rd and short, and no chance for the jump throw to get Fukudome at first base.
Now Derek Lee trying to get off the snide tonight. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. Those at-bats were against Peavy as Kosuke runs, and he's safe. He got in as Eckstein kind of tripped over the runner.
It has to be a good jump to steal a base on Henry Blanco behind the plate, because he got rid of that ball quickly. Upper body was already moving before he caught the pitch. Throw was high at second base. That gave Fukudome enough room to get in underneath.
That's low and outside. So we're mid-May right now, so do you have any vacation plans? Is this the time of the year where you can at least think about just taking a breath? And again, recent addition to your family. I'm sure it's great to be home.
It is good to be home. Right now is a big recruiting period in May, and we're emailing and talking to prospects. I've got 7 coaches throughout the country right now recruiting. The NCAA 2 years ago took the head coaches off the road, and that made my life a little bit easier from a travel standpoint. But recruiting is full speed ahead, and we're trying to get the best and brightest prospects to come play for us and fit our culture in our locker room. Those guys that are unselfish and humble and want to compete at the Big Ten level and get the best degree in college football. So I've got a great opportunity to bring those kind of people to our program, and hopefully we're finding the right kind of young men out in the country, and I know we are, and bring them into a culture of a team, like I said, it's driven, and guys that want to compete and Coach, you know that from your experience. If you get a group of guys that are committed to each other and believe in what we're trying to do and develop them to be the best they can be, we got a chance to be a pretty good football team and build a program. And I believe we're taking those steps in the right direction. Great support from the top. We couldn't ask for anything better. Our outgoing president, Henry Beanon, who is retiring, and Pat Ryan, who's our chairman of the board of trustees, who's trying to bring the 2016 Olympics here, and Jim Phillips, our athletic director. We've got great leadership and just an exciting time in Evanston.
It's Darren Balsley, the pitching coach for San Diego. Bobby Scales with a leadoff pinch hit home run, his first career homer, to make it 4-2. And then with 2 outs, Fukudome with the infield hit. He stole second base, and Derek Lee just walked. And the guy who gave the Cubs the lead, Milton Bradley, coming up to the plate.
Coach, I want to ask you real quickly, and I know this may be hard for you to answer because you don't want to offend anybody else, but what is the most intimidating place in the Big Ten to go play on the road?
Well, there's a number of them, and any given Saturday in the Big Ten is a challenge in itself. But when you go out and you play in Iowa City, and the fans can reach out and touch your bench, it makes it that much more interesting. But you know, up in Madison, when they get the fourth quarter going, and you go to Happy Valley, and it's a whiteout, or you go into Columbus and you're playing in front of 100,000, you're going to the Big House and you're playing in front of 100,000. But Ryan Field's going up there too, and as we continue to put a product on the field that every Chicagoan's proud of and happy to come support, and all of our fans are out there, Ryan Field will be right up there with the best and brightest and most difficult stadiums to play in the country. And we had some of that environment last year, and it was a lot of fun. Our fan support's been tremendous, and I invited all the Hawks fans last night to come on up and see us play. And so how about every Cubby fan out there, even if you're out in Iowa listening tonight, come on out and come on out and see Big Ten football in Evanston. We got 7 great opportunities this fall.
The kick and the 1-1 pitch. It missed 2-1. Wind continues to howl from right to left.
We were talking before we came on, though, but last night the environment in the United Center was incredible. And like I said, I've been to the Rose Bowl and played in front of 100,000. Last night was as electric of a night of sports I've ever been a part of. And what an exciting time right now in Chicago.
No doubt. Bradley did not like that strike call. 2-2.
We talked about how his strike zone has really become refined over the last few weeks, and yeah, I can see why he's arguing there. That's an off-speed pitch up, out over the plate. Probably never caught any piece of the strike zone.
Brings up a 2-2, and did he break the bat, or did he just let go of the bat?
He just let go of it there. He's still upset about the called strike before. He just had to reach out there. That pitch was down and away from him. Tried to extend his swing a little bit, loosened the grip on the bat. There it goes.
Two on for Bradley. Just inside. And now the runners will be going with the pitch. Fans are up. There they go. Ball 4. They're loaded. A disdainful bat flip from Milton Bradley.
A chance to blow this one wide open. Some kind of a big 2-out base hit here.
And they're loaded up for Fontenot. I think you said, Coach, let's get some runs, right?
Yes, he did. I heard him.
Yeah.
We got an opportunity right here now. Let's take advantage of it.
Scales with a home run, and now bases loaded for Fontenot.
Great contact hitter here. He'll put it in play and make him execute with the bases loaded.
The pitch. Fastball at 92 for a strike.
This is one of those situations Lou was talking about. When you've got the other team on the ropes, you got the other pitcher in hot water. Be patient. Make sure you get a pitch you can handle.
Swing and a miss. Missed the changeup. 0-2. There you see the runners. Kukadome with a 2-out single, and then Lee and Bradley walked. Moreno wanted it, didn't get it. Henry Blanco might be chatting right now with Angel Hernandez.
And he continues to chat with Angel Hernandez. That changeup just off the inside corner, awfully close to taking a 2-strike count. Henry's still giving it to Angel Hernandez behind home plate. You don't have to turn your head all the way around. That umpire can hear you.
I know the feeling. There'll be some calls on the side. Just want to make sure I understand what you saw. Explain that one to me a little bit clearer.
You're looking to the right and the officials to your left, right? Yeah.
Just let him know my cell phone number in case he needs anything later after the game. Help him get out of Evanston on time.
The kick and the 2-2 bounced up the middle, and Rodriguez will flip to Eckstein in time to get Bradley. Coach, congratulations on all your success, and I know that you're far from satisfied. Have a great 2009, and congrats on the Hall of Fame as well.
Thanks, man. It's great to be here, and as always, go Cats. Appreciate it. Thanks. Thank you. Good luck. Thanks.
Transportation. The CTA Red Line stops directly at Wrigley Field at the Addison Station. For drivers, DeVry University offers remote parking and bus service for just $6. For more details, visit Cubs.com or call the CTA hotline at 773-836-7000.
A rubber band man, that's what they play here at Wrigley Field, and Carlos Marmol comes into the ball game. He'll face pinch hitter Drew Macias, and then the top of the order, Giles and Eckstein. Now has a 2-run cushion with a Scales pinch hit home run. Here we go. Ball one inside. Macias has garnered a lot of frequent flyer miles. He got called up yesterday from AAA Portland. This is his 3rd stint already with the Padres. We're in mid-May.
I mentioned the Padres have no left-handed relievers in the bullpen. Macias tonight, the only left-handed bat available off the bench for Bud Black.
Slider in tight, 2-1. Got some finals quickly in the National League. Phillies just beat the Dodgers 5-3. Pirates over the Cardinals 7-1. The Mets got a run in the bottom of the 10th to beat Atlanta 4-3 after tying it in the 9th. Milwaukee leads Florida 5-3. Weeks has homered. Fielder with 2. They're in the 7th. Rockies 5. Astros nothing in the 5th. Cincinnati and Arizona scoreless in the 3rd, and Washington batting in the 1st in San Francisco. That is foul. We'll keep an eye on that game in San Francisco. Ryan Zimmerman has a 29-game hitting streak. You start to get real serious about it, and I'm sure some national media will start covering him. And he has a 30-gamer. He got a hit in his first at bat.
How about that?
He had a huge night last night. Got it. Called strike 3. Zimmerman went 4 for 5 with 2 homers last night.
Signature slider from Carlos Marmol right in the middle of the plate, just freezes Macias. Well, those hitting streaks, Len, the hardest part about them is talking about it. You know, the higher the number gets, people want to talk to you about it.
Brian Giles lifts deep to left. Soriano's going to have some room, it appears. Yep, right in front of the ivy. 2 outs. I think I've told this story before, but Luis Castillo with Florida back in 2002 had a 35-game hitting streak, and I think the final 10 games of that streak, we talked to Luis after every game. Every game we had him on the post-game show. So yeah, it does wear you out.
Because most ball players will tell you they hit their best when they're not thinking about it. They just get in the batter's box and react. Their muscle memory that they use in batting practice every day, the reports they get on the opposing pitcher that day, how they pitched me in the past. The less you can think about, the better your chances of having success, and the more you have to talk about it. Why are you hitting so well right now? What do you see up there at the plate? And inevitably the player starts thinking about it. Well, what am I seeing up there at the plate? Why am I hitting so well? That's usually about the time it goes south.
The 2-0. 3-0 on Eckstein, and this is not the guy to walk because Gonzalez is on deck.
Just thinking that if you could retire Eckstein and have Gonzalez lead off the 9th inning, even if he would happen to touch one off, still have at least a 1-run lead.
Three and 1. Missed badly, and Gonzalez will bat with a runner at first.
Normally I would say stay away from his power, pitch him away, keep him in the yard, but we've already seen him go way back to the opposite field in the first inning of this ball game.
It was a majestic swing. He just got a piece of it. Sidewinding Clay Meredith has joined Opeka. Oh, and 2. American League, Adam Jones with 2 homers, 8 on the year now. Baltimore over Tampa Bay, 7-5. That's a final. It's a Toronto one. Everything else is going on. Not over yet. Ground ball to Lee. He will step on first, and that'll end the Padres threat. 2-out walk, no runs. Last of the 8th, 4-2 Cubs. Cubs trying to start this homestand on a winning note, and they lead 4-2 as Clay Meredith will take over in the last of the 8th. You saw his numbers. This is where it gets a little funky with relievers. 4-0 with a 3.27 ERA. You'd say that's great. And it is, but he's also inherited 10 runners and 9 of the 10 have scored. That's not an issue here as he starts the inning. I guarantee you that's a number Meredith would like to improve upon. That hits the sidewall and it's foul.
And until he does, you can assume his manager, Bud Black, is going to try to use him in situations just like this, where he can start an inning rather than come in with runners on base and possibly allow those inherited runners to score. You know, a lot of those things you have to learn in the early part of the season. We saw it from Carlos Marmol last year. He showed the ability to come in when the team was in a jam, runners on base, close game, and find a way to wiggle out of that jam without allowing those runners to score. Other pitchers are much better suited to start an inning with nobody on base.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Comcast has more HD than anyone and bundles to fit your needs. And 10,000 choices of on-demand programming ready to pick and play whenever. Comcast has a bundle for you. Call 1-888-4BEST-TV. It's Miles in the 8th spot, and then Michael Hoffpower for Marmol with Kevin Gregg loosening in the pen. Almost clipped him. In some ways, it's a taller order for the Cubs batters tomorrow. Knocked down by Gonzalez, and he can't pick it up. That'll be a hit for Miles. And the Cubs will face 6'10" righty Chris Young. Ted Lilly will go for the Cubs tomorrow.
Aaron Miles now 3 for 4 lifetime against the side-arming Meredith. Tries to shoot that one down the right field line. Gonzalez was able to knock it down. Come up with it on the barehand play. Infield single.
Micah had been in the lineup for the last, 6 straight games. He filled in the last 5 for Derek Lee. It was a whole road trip. He played left for Soriano the last game of the previous homestand. To first, Miles back in plenty of time. It's a final now in Cleveland. The White Sox beat the Indians 7-4. Driven to right for a hit. Miles will easily make the turn and head to third. And it's set up for Soriano. Cubs are 2 for 2 off the bench.
Gotten a lot of production out of that 9-hole in the lineup. A nice sacrifice bunt from Rich Hart when he was in the ball game. The Bobby Scales pinch hit home run in the 7th, and now Michael Hoffpower with a pinch hit single.
Last time up, Soriano just missed in a warning track fly ball to left. Skewed foul. Another interesting note involving the White Sox. Bobby Jenks was fined today for throwing behind Ian Kinsler of the Rangers over the weekend. And Jenks basically admitted that he did it on purpose. But I thought what he said was interesting. He said, I wasn't trying to hit him. I threw it with intent, but it was kind of like a message pitch. So he didn't hit him. He tried not to hit him, but because he threw behind him, he got fined.
It seems to be one of those situations where if he would have just used the old standby, well, it slipped. I lost my grip on the ball. He got away unscathed. But because he admitted he threw it behind Kinsler, I think the league had no option but to fine him.
Ground ball base hit. Miles is in. It's 5-2. Second ribby tonight for Soriano. How many ground ball base hits to right has Soriano had as a Chicago Cub?
One I know of. Slider on the outside corner down below the knees. That's a pitch that Fonzie's had a lot of problems with. Maybe because Meredith is a side armor. He just decided to give in a little bit and just hit the ball where it was pitched. The infield drawn in, that shot right through the right side.
One strike to Terrio. A lot of things to like about this game tonight, Bob. Harden settled down after giving up the early home run. Cubs have been able to come back against Jake Peavy, who pitched pretty well. And now they've been able to add on. Got a couple of scoreless innings from the bullpen. Terrio safe at first. They're at the corners at 2 outs. Doesn't always go according to plan, but tonight, so far, it has.
And sometimes when you have a game that does go according to plan, you get 6 strong innings out of your starters. We get another look at the fielder's choice by Ryan Terrio from our high-speed shutter cam. You see David Eckstein trying to make the turn down there at second, but Terrio has too much speed and beats it easily at first. I'd say when you have a game that follows the plan, you get your starter through 6 innings. Your 7th inning pitcher does his job. Your 8th inning pitcher does his job. Ideally, we turn it over here to Kevin Gregg. He finishes the job. You get some offense. You get a little power, some good base running. You start to feel how things are supposed to work. They don't always go that way, but you get to feel what it feels like to play a game according to the plan.
Two strikes on Fukudome. A 3-hit night for Kosuke. Well, another extra base hit here, and Kevin Gregg may sit down. Well, they're going to get their 6th run of the night on a wild one. An 0-2 pitch in the dirt, and Hoffpauir scores.
A half-hearted effort that time by Henry Blanco. Just kind of reached out and tried to backhand that ball out of the dirt. That's a ball that normally he would get into position and try to smother it and keep it right there in front at home plate, but that time just reached across, went to the backhand, and it got by.
Slap foul.
Three hits for Kosuke in the game, all coming to the opposite field. We talked last year, maybe he had some trouble making adjustments in the second half of the season to what opposing pitchers were trying to do to him. Possibly trying to make that adjustment against them this year.
Guzman and Gregg still up. We'll see who's coming in. It's not a safe spot. With a 4-run lead to the ninth. Stick around. For Lowe's Cubs post-game live. Get highlights of all the action, analysis from Todd Hollandsworth, and check in on Lou Pinella's post-game remarks. Don't miss Lowe's Cubs post-game live immediately following the game, and it'll originate right here at Wrigley Field. On Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Non-save situation for the closer, with his team leading by 4 runs. 0-2 to Chase Headley. Gale and Todd preparing. Look at Todd Hollandsworth checking out the game notes. He's a broadcaster.
He's asking Gale, who do you like in that third race? Well, those are the game notes.
5-letter word for boredom. E-N-U-I. Swing and a foul tip strikeout. 1 out. I think what Todd was doing is looking at our Felco upcoming schedule.
Probably.
Comcast Sportsnet tomorrow night and Thursday afternoon. Also straight up noon on Saturday. Off day Monday, and then back to the road, St. Louis and San Diego. Garrett pulls it foul. One strike on Garrett. In the dirt, they'll get a new ball. So Young and Lilly tomorrow. Godin and Dempster on Thursday. Chad Godin 0-2 with a 4.08. Soriano at left. 2 outs. Ted was looking a little mischievous there in the clubhouse, in the dugout, wasn't he? He's been playing some pranks here lately.
Yes, he has.
Bobby Scales on BMW ultimate drive of the game, his first career homer. Pinch hit blast. Strike one. Nothing in 2 on Kevin Kuzminov. Fastball just off the plate.
By design, Giovanni Soto went way out there off the outside corner. That's just kind of a show-me pitch in the 0-2 count. A little fastball near the strike zone, but that's exactly where Kevin Gregg wanted to throw that pitch.
Gregg has been really good lately. He's gone to a full count.
And part of the reason he's been so good lately, that last pitch you saw, the bounced breaking ball. And once again, I think that was by design ahead of Kuzminov in the count, but he's been able to throw that pitch for strikes more regularly. And when he gets ahead in the count, he tries to get the batter to chase a bad one.
Still alive. It's a foul ball. Loudest cheer in the history of baseball for a 3-2 foul. The ball kind of got lost at the feet of Soto, so that's why everybody thought it was strike 3. Another 3-2 pitch. Ground ball to the shortstop, Terrio. Cubs win. 6-2 the final as Rich Harden defeats Jake Peavy. They got down early. They came